Welcome to a new episode of Therapeutic Massage and Integral Health. This is Eduardo Barreto in Winnipeg, Canada. Hello everybody, thank you for coming back here, and we have a special guest today from Australia to other part of the world. I was surprised to see that we have 16 hours of difference to Brisbane, Australia, and we have here Paula Nutting, who is gonna introduce herself and talk to us as massage therapists and public in general, the work she's doing over there, and to share with us. Thank you, Paula, to be here.
Thank you, Eduardo, and thank you very much for inviting me on board. So my name is Paula Nutting. I am a massage therapist and musculoskeletal therapist by trade. I did a degree in health science, musculoskeletal therapy. So I think you guys say musculoskeletal. It's just a little bit different over there than here. And prior to that, I wasn't a very smart cookie at all. When I think I'm proof that any idiot can actually do whatever they want if they put their mind to it. But when I finished school, I wasn't incredibly bright, but I was fortunate enough to be able to start nursing. So I did my 3 years certificate nursing, and was involved in intensive care for 8 years after that. So I got a really good feel on pathophysiology and what happens to people's bodies under stress and under load. And that started my journey into how stress affects the body. From there, I moved from there and actually started doing personal training. So I taught aerobics for 5 years full time, jumping up and down in leotards. And if you want to know what stress is like, stand in front of 95 people in a leotard. And do a great time for 45 minutes and see how your stress levels go. So anyway, once I completed that, I got into massage, and was, because of my background in pathophys and exercise science, I was encouraged to start teaching at one of our local colleges in Brisbane. And I taught for a handful of years for students who were coming through, and we got a really good idea of what students need, that aha moment. And people will remember when they were a student and they were learning. Now, you learn your anatomy and physiology, you learn your origins and your insertions and the actions of the muscles, and you learn your techniques and the red flags, but you don't know how to put it all into one link that when a client comes in to see you and you think, what am I going to do? I've done all these tests and these assessments, and I think I know there's a working hypothesis, but now what do I do? So I kind of thought, well, how do we make that easy for the client who comes in with a lower back pain or neck pain? And how do we make it easier for the therapist who is new or experienced and wants to fine-tune their work? And that's when I started to develop my passion project. And my passion project is all about getting as much information out to therapists in the form of a really good, strong clinical YouTube video on how to do things, and also videos that help people that are home and can't get to a practitioner or might have a neck pain, and how they can stretch or what little exercises. So that's probably me in a nutshell, what I'm trying to offer to make the world a healthier, less stressful place.
That's amazing. That's a really lovely approach, because definitely the people who is working basically in health, helping others, most of the time they forgot how to take care of themselves. And then sooner or later, the practitioner will pay in the price. And we are seeing this really really often in our profession and another profession related with hand or body and hands-on of the patient. That's really, really amazing that you are going and showing people in that direction. And I was looking on your video the other day, and for me it was amazing that you were here in Canada 2 years ago. You were in Edmonton, in Calgary, in Toronto. How was your experience with Canadian people?
I think that the Canadians are the most wonderful people. They're up there with the genuineness and or generosity and friendliness that us Aussies are known for. So people quite often say Canadians and Australians are really similar. Like if we see somebody walking along the street, we'll stop, like a stranger, we'll stop and go, are you looking for something? Do you need a hand? Can I help you? And I found that all the way through. Flew into Vancouver and spent a few days there, and then taught in New Westminster, and then went down to Calgary, taught there with the course that I run, and then was fortunate enough to go to Red Deer and present for the National Health Practitioners of Canada, and stayed in Red Deer, beautiful part of the world. And then up to Edmonton, played golf with a good friend of mine, an old ex-president of the NHPC.
Okay.
And my longest drive, I think it's because your air's so light. So I drove almost 300 metres, which is unheard of on the golf course.
Good.
And then taught there, Saskatoon, and a big shout out, I don't know if I know he's an NHPC member, but there's a wonderful human being that lives in Saskatoon called Paul Buffell.
Okay.
And he's been in this industry for almost as long as I have. And if you want to look for somebody who will help support and nurture therapists in self-care, he's got it in spades. And then off to Toronto and finished teaching there. It took me a whole month, missed home a bit by the end, and then home. But you guys are terrific.
That's amazing. And I know you are teaching and doing your courses over there. How was the reception of your different approaches to different situations with the practitioners? And I saw your videos, and that's why I'm sharing this. I like on your videos, a lot of the practitioners are receiving treatment right away, and they are sharing the experience with this. For me, that's amazing. A practitioner receiving a treatment and feeling the benefit. So I want to share with our people who are listening to this, your experience about that.
Yeah, well, I've always said to people, this is the cheapest treatment you'll get. You get two full days, so you get 16 hours of treatment, hands-on treatment for, can you imagine how much money you have to spend to get 16 hours of treatment from, going to your practitioner? Anyway, so we do the before and after, the work that I have developed or taken from sports excellence to remedial, because that's the way Chapman's reflexes or neuro-lymphatic point stimulation has worked. It started with sports exercise performance, and then I looked at it and thought, how can we make this work applicably for people with back pain, neck pain, shoulder pain, knee injuries, whatever pathologies? And that's why I designed it and have been rolling it out. So the therapists, they've all got anatomy and physiology. They all know their actions of the muscles. So that's always a good start. So a therapist will, in their diploma, will learn what the contraction of a gluteus maximus or your buttocks, as they'll know the strength test for your hip flexors or your hamstrings. So they test the strength. Then we fire up the specific nerve endings to stimulate that viscerosomatic reflex or our neurolymphatic reflex. And then they feel the after effects, and the after effects are driving neural strength to the muscles. So when the muscle's got proper nerve supply to it, its resting length is longer and it's got more power. It's like taking a hose that might have a kink in it and taking the kink out so the water runs smoothly and fast. That's what we're doing with the conduction of the nerve. And the therapist will feel the before and the after. They'll go, I was weak before, and now I'm super strong. And when they get up, they make comments like they feel lighter or they feel more stable, or the pain they had in the specific area has gone. And because we're working at a neurolymphatic level, it's rapid, it's fast. So it takes you less than a minute to make a sizable difference on an injured or reduced capacity muscle. So it's fantastic. Therapists love it. We had people that used to call it not witchcraft. They go, can you do that zhuzhing? Can you do that weird stuff that you do that makes me feel so good? Which is not very research focused, and we're trying to change that around this year.
And definitely there is a lot of science and studies related with that. It's amazing that now in the last 10 years to 15 years, we have a lot of research about that huge connection that we have, that before we don't have that information. And as you know, there is a lot of research related with the fascia, the lymphatic system, the nervous system. And when I was at the beginning, it was working completely independent. Oh, you have trouble with muscles? Go for this treatment. You have trouble with the nerves? Try to find a neurologist, right? Oh, lymphatic? We don't know what to do with that. And maybe you can. Now, in the way that you are describing and using this technique, is basically we're going to talk about Chapman's technique or Chapman's reflexes. They integrate this. And for me, that's amazing. It's the one amazing way to see how our body is designed and working in the same direction to basically improve and balance the health of the person, and learning from the practitioner too. The practitioner will receive their own benefit to do that, to improve that situation with himself or herself. I love that.
Yeah. To the point that I always give a homework sheet, homework should be less than 10 minutes, otherwise nobody does it. That's the biggest key with homework. And because we're waking up each area, like rubbing, and it's not hard rubbing, so it's easy for the therapist's fingers or the client's fingers, they don't wear out. They do 30 seconds in each area. They might have 5 areas or 6 areas to rub, and then they're up. So it wakes up it calms the nervous system down, because a lot of the research says that this is sympathetic nervous driven. So for those people who don't understand what that means, it's our fright and flight. So when we get a fright and flight response, our scared response, we tend to shut down and close down and become defensive. And that's when this becomes really specifically, like this is when it's worthwhile. So if you've got fear or anger or resentment or anything that's those triggers that are going to bring up your adrenaline and your cortisol, then this is what we do to ease it straight away. So therapists can use it before they go to work. A mum could maybe use it if she's about to have a screaming fit with a child who won't get in the car to get to school. Not that people are going to school right now with COVID, but you might be fighting with them to do their homework. The first thing you've got to know is that we need to take a breath back, do some breathing, turn on the diaphragm, and understand that children or no one learns anything when they are in that state. So don't try to get somebody to understand the 6 times table when you're yelling at them, because they won't pick it up ever. And I know because I didn't. One of 5 siblings, one in the middle, I was always yelled at.
And one important thing that you mentioned is that helps the therapist, and definitely when the therapist is in a better position, physically, emotionally, mentally, more balanced, the benefit on their clients is you're going to feel much, much better with your clients. Because as you know, in this profession, being massage therapies or hands work, is always this direct contact with patients, and they're releasing a lot of the stress in us. And we need to be ready to do something with that. Is one important tool that we can learn, definitely, to improve our lives and the lives of our clients too. So what is exactly, where does this come from? Chapman's treatments or Chapman's reflexes? Where does this come from?
So Chapman's reflexes, the actual term Chapman's reflexes was named after Frank Chapman, and he was an osteopath in the 1920s. He had an early death, 1937, and he had found that he was working on these things that he called neurolymphatic points, and they were distinctly tender points where the nerve endings were getting congested with lymph, stagnant lymph, and that's what he was working. Now, he was working specifically with the organs, so it was really only visceral work that Chapman did. Now, it's been expanded on and moved through from the visceral component through to the musculoskeletal component by triggering off George Goodhart, who was the founder of applied kinesiology. So George Goodhart, who was doing a lot of visceral work as well, realized that when he was stimulating the stomach point to improve the motility of the gut, the stomach, it also increased the strength of the clavicular fibers of the pec major, the chest muscle underneath the collarbone. So he then mapped out all of the neurolymphatic points that Chapman had marked for organs and found relevant muscles. And that's the history of how we've gone from a visceral component to that we can use in our profession as massage and remedial massage therapists.
Amazing. I really like the history, because as you mentioned before, just in the last 10, 15 years, we have some research about this, but definitely these techniques and other techniques that we can use, they came from many, many years ago. We just learning how to use it, and maybe we start finding, maybe we can start finding some idea that how that works. But definitely are these all techniques that we can use on our patients. And the benefit for me, the most amazing thing is the integration of everything together in the benefit of our patients.
And for us, because if we think about, when we talk about, you touched on the fascia before, and our fascial trains that Tom Myers talks about in his anatomy trains, we look at the links between the jaw and headaches and the weakness of your buttocks muscles and the tightness of your hamstrings, and someone can come in complaining of bad ankles, and the actual pathology could be the ankles are reduced in their range, their normal movement range, because the calves are tight, because the gluteal muscles aren't working, so the hamstrings are trying to support the pelvis from being too unstable. So people come in and complain of plantar fasciitis. And unless we have a look to go up the line and say, is the gluteal muscles working? Have you got some stability in the hip? Then there's no point in working just on the plantar fascia, because that's not the original culprit. Same with headaches. Are the headaches coming from restrictions up at the neck, or is there somebody doing some jaw clenching? And is a jaw clenching part of what's turning off that functional backline or the superficial backline of Myers? So look at our fascia and looking at the muscles and how they work in those blocks is an amazing way for therapists to accelerate your treatment outcomes fourfold. Stop working where it's sore, work where it's needed.
I like it. And definitely is a big, amazing process that we can give this to the patients, and the patient get empowered to do this. They can feel the release, learn about their own condition, and learn that even a small connection from different things they are doing during the day, they can improve the posture, for example, and then have a benefit on their feet. Because sometimes, as you mentioned, problems in the process of the neck, even with my hips, my lower back, and fixing the posture, see the body as a completely whole, that benefit the patient and the life of the patient completely.
Exactly. In fact, we can do a little tester for those people who are listening, if they want to. If you like, it'll only take probably a minute or two. Do you want me to go through something that they can feel practical? All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to get them to, if you've got lower back problems, I don't want you to go down and do standing, go down to try to touch toes if you've got an actual pathology. But if you don't have an actual pathology, I want you to just stand up and gently support yourself and you're going to go down and see how far you can go down to touch toes. So we have our knees slightly softly bent, and we go down and try to touch as far as down as we can. If you're only going down mid-shin, just mark on your shin how far you're going down. Great. Okay, so now what I want you to do is you're going to do two things. You're going to open up your jaw. No, actually, no, we're not. You're going to close your jaw down. You're going to clench it, because how many people do we know are night grinders and clenchers? Yes. So now I want everybody out there to clench their jaw as tight as they can. And then you're going to bend, do the same thing. You're going to try to touch your toes. Now, in 90% plus of people that are doing that now, you will find that you've got a much less range than you did before. Okay. And it will feel stiff or restricted. Sometimes you feel tight in your calves, you'll be feeling differences. Okay, so I want you to just stand back up and wobble your jaw as wide as you can. Really open it like a yawn and give it a wobble. And now I want you to go down to touch toes again and feel the difference. So what we're going to have to do, Eduardo, is we're going to get them hopefully to type into your chat box or somewhere what results they had. And share the results. I love that, yeah. Results, yeah, because I've had people, I ran a course for you guys over in Canada, actually finished it on last Friday. They were having full hands, so the hand, like fingers touching, and then relaxed the jaw and went down and could put their whole hand on the ground. So it's just an indicator that we have to be mindful that the jaw, when it's contracted, will contract the entire posterior line. So we have to be looking at jaws when we're working with our clients and with ourselves. If you're a grinder, whenever you think about it, try to loosen it up. And you can even give your jaw, like along the mastoid process, the mandible, all around behind the ears. You can give that a little bit of a rub whenever you think about it, because it helps to stimulate and mobilize the neurovascular area, which is really powerful for jaw health and also getting our glutes firing. Oh, amazing. And definitely the upper body, the jaw, the shoulders, all the trap muscles, the neck, you always carry a lot of emotional and stress tension there. So one of the big problems that we have in these times is a lower back pain. And a lot of people make this consultation. So it's important to teach the patients and learn from our own experience that there is a huge connection with the upper body and the middle part of the body and obviously the lower back. So when you start explaining this to the patients and they start seeing the results, like with this easy demonstration that you just mentioned, the patient can learn that they can release some tension in other areas and they have the benefit of reduce this chronic pain they have in their lower part of the body, at the lower back. That is a really, really good way to see how this therapies works in different levels. I love that. Yeah, and just getting people to be able to breathe. And as you mentioned before, therapists can take a lot of stress on board when they have their clients and patients that come in to see them. So make sure that you really consider yourself first, so before you consider your client second. So if you're not in a mental state to be able to treat, you want to really think about, am I going to be doing the service to my clients today or am I not? And I know that the level of stress right now for people that have been through like reduced respiration because of the masks, so we're breathing in a lot more CO2 than we're used to. Like nurses and doctors in theatre do it all day, so they've built up that level of how their body maintains the partial pressures and how much CO2 is in the blood. We, however, have not. So it takes us a little bit more time to adjust to that. That we are considering our breath work all the time, and are we thinking, trying to breathe down, relax through the diaphragm, and engaging the pelvic floor, because that also supports the diaphragm and it supports your lower back. And then talking to our clients through, how are they going? Do they have support links? Have you got in your clinic a list of websites that they can get support? So whether it's Beyond Blue or it's a Men's Health, or what have we got in place that are either pamphlets or emails or links that we can offer them. So we want to be working together in a process of wellness, us for our patients and clients, and our and us for us. So if you've got a couple of massage therapists that live in the area, are you thinking about having a chat on Zoom or on Messenger or on Loom? There are a number of platforms that we can just check in to make sure we're all right. We should be supporting each other. And the one beautiful thing that this horrible pandemic has done is it's actually brought us closer together. As like example of this right now, at the start of the pandemic, I was doing the same thing, interviewing these amazing practitioners, Eric Dalton and Whitney Lowe and Susan Chappelle and John Sharkey, just because they had the same thought. We've got to get it out there for practitioners to feel safe. And anyway, we could support them, we should. Correct.
That's completely a big goal for 2021, which is this year. This year in March is in Australia. We're still here in February, but in March we celebrate 1 year of this COVID situation. That's amazing. 1 long year. Yeah. And it's important to learn from this experience. What can we do for our benefit and benefit others? And definitely we're still learning about this virus and all this situation, and a lot of people get more stress and tension. But when we reduce that stress with good information, we can help ourselves and we can learn how to breathe. Because one of the first things we are doing when we are not under stress is stop breathing properly, and that produces all this tension in our body. So I know this is a difficult time for a lot of people. Pandemic is still here. A lot of changes, a lot of things that we don't know, even decision from the government. We don't know exactly what to expect in some countries. But our own process, our own attitude, learn from this and learn to breathe in and be with our family and with friends, sharing information with people who know like you to Zoom, definitely make these difficult moments a little bit lighter or better in different times. It's amazing that we are learning from this.
Yeah. And who knows whether we'll be going up and down. It'll be a year, your anniversary tomorrow. But I think that we still might need to be mindful that if we're going in and out of small points of quarantine, so might have 7-day shutdowns in Australia. If we have a couple of cases that we haven't been able to work out where the contact has come from, they'll just close the city for 3 days, 5 days, 7 days. So it just stops everyone from going out. We can manage what's going on without cross-pollinating, cross-threading, and that's been good. So we can't expect that we're all going to be perfect from tomorrow on. And part of the work that I've been trying to do with the therapists that have been learning this course live streaming is that we have an option to offer telehealth. So we can teach our clients, if they can't come to see us, but they still want a treatment, we can still show them where to stimulate to the neurolymphatic endpoints. We can still show them some homework by giving them small videos that they can link to. So we can still help them and also draw an income, which are two really important parts for our mental health and our financial bottom line. I mean, we're in this industry because we love helping people. I don't know anybody who's in this industry because that they want for the money. Yeah. That's not the way our boats float because we are nurturers, empathetic, want to help people.
That's right. We can join both the part of the financial stress and good benefit through the online program you mentioned, teaching patients in this way. That will be at this time and a perfect way to solution to help us on different levels. Because another sort of stress is our financial situation. We always see, emotional situation, mental situation. We are taking a course, learning or something, physical stress, like you were talking about aerobics and going to the gym, etc. A lot of people are missing that, right? Is releasing that. But another important stress, because we live in this society, is the financial situation. And for our practitioners, we can have some tools to improve that at a good level that is another way to improve our own health and benefits, and have benefits to our patients too.
Yeah. When we first went down into it, I designed a 7-day health program, health and stretching program. So, and then I just said to all of my clients that I had in my mailing list, listen, if you want help here, and I know that you're working from home, because people are still working from home in terrible offices like this. You don't have HR that's coming in to set up your work desk at home. Normally people are sitting in front of horrible laptops in bad seats. So people are getting more dysfunctions, more complaining of neck pain, shoulder pain, lower. So I just developed a 7-day DIY. Here you go, and I think we sold it for $29. So I wasn't trying to make a killing, but I wanted them to know that they had my back. B, I was thinking of them. C, that I had some support resolutions for them to help manage from home. And D, that just kind of helped my bottom line for a while.
That's really good. That's why we have to learn from you to improve that. Yeah, I love it. So what is you mentioned this, the big project for you. What other plans do you have for this year, 2021?
Well, I've just finished running the first live stream through the Pacific Standard Time. I mean, I plan on running another course in a few months' time over at Central and whatever your other side is, the Mountain Time. And I'm also running courses in Australia because we still have a bit of transport. Still transport around, and it's research for me this year. So I'm trying to get as many case studies that are going to be working with just longitudinal studies. Get as many therapists as I could possibly have to do quantitative. So as many case studies of clients that come to see them. And we're going to get a big body of knowledge on board for the veracity of the Chapman's reflexes. So, and it's not hard to do. It's just a little bit time constraining. But I've got a lot of people who are ready with templates, ready to go with writing case studies. So that's a bit exciting.
That's really good. Any advices for the people who are listening about their own health from your perspective? Anything that you can share with them? I'm going to learn here a lot of people about Chapman. I'm going to try and improve that, tell them about this new technique I'm going to learn, because that's my goal here too. I want to learn from this. I love that approach of the neurolymphatic system, and we learn to use it better. So anything that you can share with our people who are listening right now?
Well, if they, without plugging courses, if they want to come into, if they can have a look at my YouTube channel, so if they just type in Paula Nutting in the YouTube box, there's hundreds of videos that will help, that they can share with their clients. You're more than happy for you to take anything that I've got on there. You can have a look at my website, Your Musculoskeletal Specialist. The easiest way to find that is type in Paula Nutting and you'll find it, because it's the longest. It was the silliest name I could have ever called something. It's that long.
But I love it. I love it. It's really good, really descriptive.
So yourmusculoskeletalspecialist.com, and go to the blog section, and you'll start seeing a lot of the case studies and the information, and you'll be able to apply that. And also you'll see that I've got a couple of courses. I have online self-paced learning, silver, platinum, gold and platinum. I've got the live streaming courses, of which there'll be some more coming up instead, and face-to-face courses. So there's 3 options for people that want to get more information on how to apply. One of the best techniques I've been in this industry for 25 plus years. I know I don't look it, been around forever. And it's a mind blower. I have patients who come in who've had total knee replacement, and like we've done prehab before they've had the knee replacement and had them extend before the surgery for up to half a year. And then post-surgery, we've had them up and walking just by facilitating the core, and then specific points for the quadriceps, the calves, the tibialis, the hamstrings, the adductors. So it's absolutely mind-blowing how effective this treatment is. And there's also the Supercharged membership portal, which is a monthly membership for anybody who wants to be part of a team, part of a community, around clarity, community, and education. And that's where I'm putting most of my focus in, is to try to give people really like a beautiful place to feel safe and secure and nurtured. And there's like I said, it's a small monthly payment plan to that.
I love it. Really good. Thank you so much, Paula, to be here. I really like it. And I know for sure we're going to talk again sooner or later and share this space with you.
I hope so. And the other thing with all of those courses, except for the portal, all of the courses have CEC or CEU or CPD, whatever you want to call it, continued professional education points to them. They're all they've all got something with MTAM, MTAA, CMTBC, CC Motor. There's a whole pile of them, and also the CMTBC or whatever, the American Certification Board. So we've gone through the veracity of the education to make sure that it's covered with all of your associations, and I can give you a tick. It has.
Thank you so much. Thank you for listening to our podcast, and it was Paula Nutting from Australia, and thank you for being here. Have a good night. Take care.